Comet Report. Hey there, stargazers. I'm James Albury, director of the Kika Silva Pla Planetarium in Gainesville, Florida.
And I'm Dean Regas, astronomer for the Cincinnati Observatory.
And I'm Marlene Hidalgo, science teacher from Miami-Dade County, Florida. Back in February, we alerted you about a bright comet that you might see in the western sky after sunset in the middle of March. How many of you actually spotted it?
I tried several nights and I eventually had to use binoculars.
I saw it one time, just barely.
Well, some people saw it pretty well. So let's see what kind of show Comet Pan-STARRS actually did put on.
Here we are in front of an image that pretty well shows what Comet Pan-STARRS actually look like with the unaided eye on the night of March 13th. We'd like to thank Mike Palermiti from Jupiter, Florida, who has kindly allowed us to use his wonderful picture of this naked eye comet.
Although it's often called Comet Pan-STARRS, the comet's official name is C2011L4. There are actually quite a few other comets that have been discovered by the Pan-STARRS system, but this is the famous one. The important thing we want you to notice is that a comet is not a flaming ball of fire zooming across the sky. It just hangs there in the darkening sky and will set just like the sun does.
Let's explain the weird letter and number combinations that are used for comet names. As Marlene said, this comet is officially called C2011L4. The C means that it's a long period comet, which means it takes a long time to orbit the sun. The 2011 is the year it was discovered. The L tells us it was found in the first 2 weeks of June, actually June 6th. And the 4 tells us it was the fourth comet reported in that time period.
Wouldn't it be easier if they just used names?
Yes, it might, but there were at least 6 other, much fainter Comet Pan-STARRS in the sky that same evening. So it would be kind of hard to keep track of them just using the name Pan-STARRS. Let's take a trip out into space and see what the orbit of our buddy Pan-STARRS looked like. Okay, we're looking back at the sun from beyond the orbit of the Earth. And let's add the orbits of Mercury, Venus, Earth, and the comet. It's March 8th and C2011L4 is approaching its closest point to the sun, also known as perihelion.
I want you to notice something very important. Look at the comet's tail. It's not following in the path of the comet.
It's pointing away from the sun.
Then, on the 10th of March, the comet was at its closest point in its orbit.
And the tail is still pointing away from the sun. Let's advance every other day for a week or two and watch what happens.
March 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. Notice that the tail always points away from the sun as the comet rapidly climbs up above the plane of the planets.
And notice that the tail shrinks a bit each day as the comet gets farther from the heat of the sun. Let's pull back a bit and see where the comet is now. The comet's now about 200 million miles away from us and fading back into space, not to reappear for 100,000 years.
But where is it in the sky tonight? Do you think we can still see it? Let's take a look and find out.
Okay, we've got our skies set for 10 o'clock facing north any night next week. First, find the Big Dipper in the northwest. Then, use its pointer stars and find Polaris, our north star. Then go straight up above Polaris and find 2 faint little stars, Kochab and Firkad, that mark the end of the bowl of the Little Dipper.
Comet Pan-STARRS C2011L4 is just a bit above the left of Kochab and Firkad and will make a nice little triangle with them. But see it? No way! Kochab and Firkad are about 500 times brighter than the comet with Pan-STARRS, getting fainter each day.
So if you didn't spot Pan-STARRS this time around, you're out of luck. But don't give up hope, because there's another comet coming that astronomers expect will put on a much better show around Thanksgiving. So keep looking up.